Hi everyone, I'm Greg Harradine. So in this video today, I'm going to talk about a question I asked a few months back. Art versus entertainment, is there a difference? This is my part 2 video on that topic. And as will become very clear, I am recording this all in one single take. And in fact, it's the first take, so whatever happens will be the video. To make things more interesting, I'm expecting a delivery. So if that turns up, we'll get a mystery delivery halfway through. Anyway, I wanted to do a one-take video because so many videos these days, and I've been guilty of this, are edited to within an inch of their life. And someone talks for 5 seconds, cut, talk for 5 seconds, cut. And that's all well and good, and it can be fine, but I want this to be more of a natural conversation, you know, as if you were in the room here with me. So that's why I wanted to try a one-take video. So here we are. Now, in my last video, I discussed the issue, art versus entertainment, and I came out fairly strongly saying that I think there is a difference between the two terms. And I would just want to mention 2 things I said which will be relevant to today's video, following up on the topic. The first is I mentioned 2 terms that I have assigned to people who have 2 opposing views. So you can either be a hierarchist or an equalizer. Now, if you're a hierarchist, you think that there is some kind of hierarchy between works of art, works of entertainment, and we, human beings, can judge what's better and worse. I believe that to be true. If you're an equalizer, you believe that no, all works of art, because they're subjective, they're all equally valid. And no one has the right to say X is better than Y. Which I sort of see the logic of, but strikes me as a very ludicrous point of view, because that's not how we are. You know, we all have our favourite works of art, works of entertainment. We may disagree about what's better and worse, but, you know, no one goes through life saying everything's equal in the arts or in the world of entertainment. Anyway, so that's the first thing. Hierarchists and equalizers, those 2 terms. The other thing I want to mention is I said that it strikes me that entertainment is a fairly passive concept. You know, if we engage with entertainment quite passively, we watch something, we let it wash over us. You know, we read something that's entertainment, and we don't have to have any, intense grapplings in our mind about it. Whereas art is active. We have to actively engage with something that is in this category of art. We have to mull it over. We have to delve into it. It doesn't just wash over us like so much entertainment does. Anyway, I mention these things because what I want to do now is go through all the lovely comments that were on my previous video. Because that's why I made the last video. I wanted to hear from you. I wanted to get everyone thinking about it. I find it a fascinating topic, and thank you all for leaving comments. And I thought the best thing I could do in this part 2 video is simply read some of them out and discuss them. So that's what we're going to do. So if you did leave a comment on the first video, listen up, because I may well read it out. But first, we must just have a sip of water. And I will say, if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe. These numbers make a difference, so thank you very much. Okay, let's get to it. I was going to read the comments from my phone, but then I suddenly realised that, of course, I'm filming from my phone, so I cannot do that right now. Hence why I printed the comments out. I try not to print, I want to save the trees, but sometimes you got to do it. Okay, so I'm not going to read every single comment out or every single word, because we'd be here a while, and not all of them are relevant, but a lot of them are relevant. So bear with me, and I hope this will, enliven the topic and get us all thinking more about art and entertainment and good art versus bad art. That's something else people said, which I agree with. I sort of mixed up 2 different questions in my last video. The question of art versus entertainment and the question of good art versus bad art, or good entertainment versus bad entertainment. They are 2 different questions, you're right. And I think through these comments, we will sort of get people's answers to both. Okay, let's start at the beginning. Chris Mossey was the first, I believe, to comment. Left quite a long comment. Let's see, what did Chris say? Chris said, he said a few things, and then he said, Watching soap operas also requires one to be active, to follow the plot and characters, but I rather use my energy on something more serious. I may seem a snob, but I respect everyone's choice, and it requires as much energy to know all football teams in Europe and the players' style and history as to remember composers and their works. True. I'd take energy to memorize anything at all, so that's definitely true. He goes on to say, classical music used to be, in many ways, just a job to make money, as you know, and Beethoven listed his prices for various compositions and negotiated fees, though the music also had deeper meanings. So yes, money's always been a part of art. Artists need to live, as do those in the entertainment business. I think Chris is referring to the fact that I mentioned that often those in the entertainment business, it's more about setting out to make money from the outset, and they will then create their product with that in mind. Whereas usually artists will create whatever artwork they want to because they have a deep conviction they need to create something, and then they go on to hope it will make money. Chris finishes by saying, "It always disappointed me when artists turn out to be greedy, investing to get richer or to try to avoid taxes," Phil Collins. Kudos to ABBA, who turned down a $1 billion offer to tour during a year, performing 100 times. It would have given them $10 million per concert. Wow. Well, there we go. Well done to ABBA for turning that down. But why did they turn it down? What's wrong with performing concerts, eh? But thank you, Chris. That was an interesting comment. And I see your point. Watching soap operas also requires one to be active to follow the plot. Yeah, some forms of entertainment may have convoluted plots we have to stay engaged with. But I say they don't. I'd say they don't make one, question the meaning of one's existence as deeply as works of art can. Or reach you up to the pinnacles of the highest or the lowest feelings in art. I would say. Feel free to disagree with me. I actually don't watch soap operas, so I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe I should start watching them and then I'll have a real opinion. That is actually a bugbear of mine. How can you criticize something if you haven't engaged with it? It's like people who try to read Ulysses, get half a page in and say they hate it. Well, sorry, you need to read the whole book before you can say you hate it. So I can't comment on too many soap operas because I don't watch them. Maybe they're great. I retract my earlier statement. Okay, moving on to some shorter comments. Michael Larry Best said, "It's subjective in my opinion. Your entertainment is my art or vice versa. What is entertainment for you today, you may recognize as art tomorrow. Learning to appreciate someone's work, the difficulty or beauty of which you may have overlooked initially, is a transition from entertainment to art." Perhaps, Michael, perhaps. Your entertainment is my art or vice versa. Yeah, maybe. But I bet if you took a certain TV show or a certain book, certain piece of music, and you polled a lot of people across the world, is this art, is this entertainment? I think there'd be a majority of agreement about it, with many grey areas. Of course, some are both. Some occupy both art and both entertainment, but some are definitely one or the other, I'd say. This is interesting, the last thing you say, Michael, where learning to appreciate someone's work, the difficulty or beauty of which you may have overlooked initially, is a transition from entertainment to art. So maybe on the first engagement you think it's entertaining, but then the more you engage with it, it strikes you as being quite an artistic product. Yeah, that can happen. Good point. Okay, next we have Echo Sonica Music, who says, "In my opinion, art has been replaced with industry in the realm of music and movies. So that deeply affects what the public understands as entertainment. It's an object of consumption, unfortunately disposable." Well, that's quite a depressing comment, but I do at least partially agree with you, Echo Sonica. It's a massive industry. It's a money-making industry, churning out products that the public have no choice but to consume because, thanks to the huge marketing budgets, we hear these songs incessantly, we see posters advertising the films, we see adverts for these things, and it's a huge money-making industry, yeah. And that's the public which is all of us after all, we get absolutely just saturated with these things, and a lot of us then think, oh, this is what I want to consume just because I've been subjected to it so many times already. Unfortunately, disposable. Yeah, entertainment is often disposable. Echo Sonica, I'd agree. Whereas art sticks with you. It really can stay with you. Is that a difference? Maybe it is. Let me know what you think. Next one, David Nyman. David says, several interesting, thought-provoking things you mentioned there. I'd say art could be entertainment or the other way around, depending on the context. I guess I'm the diplomat then. That is pretty diplomatic, David, I agree. I do think artists purposefully try to make a living from their art. However, how the market or industry looks has changed drastically over the years. One of the comments so many non-artists tend to drop is, after all, musician such and such isn't a real job, just a hobby. Basically saying it isn't socially acceptable for art to be monetized or used to make a living off. However, why should their point of view limit what artists could do or could not do with their art? Just a thought. Thank you, David. Yes, being a musician or an artist isn't a real job, it's just a hobby. I've had that. I went to give a talk at primary school about my job, which is being a composer and a musician and a music teacher. And I met the head teacher at this primary school, and I was introduced, and she said, "Oh, and what do you do?" I said, "Oh, I'm a composer and a musician." And she said, "Oh, but what's your real job?" As if that couldn't be a real job. And this is the head teacher of a school. It's quite depressing, really. I think the artists among us, and I'm not blowing my own horn here at all. As I said, a lot of what I do is teaching as well. So I'm by no means a mega successful artist, in no way, shape or form. But the artists among us should be duly respected and rewarded because they're giving us a super important part of life. As Beethoven wrote, I think it was in his, was it his Heiligesstadt Testament? Am I remembering that right? He said, art is what makes life worth living, or something along those lines, in German, of course. And I believe that art is what makes life worth living, not entertainment. Entertainment is not what makes life worth living. Maybe you disagree. Let me know in the comments. Okay, we're going to forge ahead. We've got lots of comments. I'm going to keep reading them out. Amy Guthlben, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. One sentence I'll read from Amy. She says, "Indeed, the artistic is lost, in my opinion." The artistic is lost, in my opinion. We need more artistic products in the world. I couldn't agree more, Amy. Magical Mystery Piano leaves a lovely comment. I'll read a portion. According to the topic itself, for me, it is difficult to distinguish between art and entertainment. I can only say that if we take literature, for example, the language of the classics is more rich and colourful than that of modern literature, which seems to me more primitive. But it is only my feelings. In music, I think it is the same. Modern composers are not able to create such masterpieces as Tchaikovsky, Chopin, etc. Maybe the most important point is that real art is forever and entertainment is for a season. Well, that is a great way to finish your comment there, Magical Mystery Piano. Real art is forever and entertainment is for a season. Couldn't agree more with that. Yes, I'm not sure I agree with what you say about literature and music, though. The best stuff is the older stuff. There's great stuff from the past, absolutely. But modern literature, well, what do you mean by modern literature? I mean, James Joyce is modernist literature. That's 100 years old now. No, there are great artistic writers and musicians, composers working today, for sure. And I think in 100 years' time, some of the works created today we will think just as highly of as we think of, as you say, Tchaikovsky, Chopin, or whoever you want to cite from English literature, be it Shakespeare or whoever. Okay, a comment from Bethany Joachim, who, by the way, is a fantastic composer herself. So you should check out Bethany's music. Really beautiful writer of piano music. Bethany says, "There can be a lot of overlap, but I would agree with your statement that participating in art is more active and entertainment is more passive. In such a busy, fast-paced culture, I think many people, including myself, are drawn to passive forms of entertainment that allow them to relax or turn off their brain after a long day's work. That is true. You also mentioned good/bad art and entertainment. What makes art good or bad is a very interesting question. There seems to be some objective standard related to technical skill or difficulty, but since art is subject to personal taste and opinion, everyone agreeing on a standard is all but impossible. Good things to think about. Let's mull that over for a second. Yes, it's all but impossible to agree on a standard. That's right. But we can try, and we can discuss, and we can have debates about, who's better than who, and which artwork's better than which other artwork, or is something just merely entertainment? Should we even use that word merely when we talk about entertainment? But of course, if we've had a long day, do we want to grapple with some difficult text or a really convoluted art house movie? Maybe we just want to have something like a soap opera or something, a bit of drama, some kind of Netflix season to binge on a bit, or some novel that's not particularly artistic, but is a thriller perhaps. That's what sells best, isn't it? These airport novels, thrillers, detective stories. Again, I shouldn't judge because I don't really read such things, although I have read a couple and quite enjoyed them. So look, I'm not saying that all I read and consume is high art, not at all. But I think that I would say high art is the important stuff that we live for. Moving on, a very long comment here. I'm going to just skim it and maybe pick out a few things, or we may be here all day. And my package may well turn up during this comment if I read it all. So, let's see here. Los C Piano is kind of saying that he or she, I'm not sure, they sort of see themselves as a hierarchist in the sense that they enjoy the specific art they're consuming at the moment. And they may think that is, more important, better than other things. But they understand that other people like different types of art, different types of entertainment. That's fine. Anyway, it's a very long comment, and and Los C Piano is saying, "Oh, I'm not a native English speaker. Apologies," but it's very good English, so well done. And that's not me being patronising. I often, being quite a dry English person, I often accidentally sound like I'm being condescending or patronising. I'm not. That's a very good long comment. Thank you for making it. I'm just not going to read it all because of time. But thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to climb out of that hole. This is a great comment. I can read the whole thing. It's only 5 words long. Kate Dew says, "Good debate, old as time." Thank you, Kate. It is old as time. Okay, Fated Refrain is going to educate us now because they mention Faulkner and Hemingway. So have a listen to this. Fated Refrain says, fascinating. For me, this really brings back the feud between Faulkner and Hemingway. Faulkner states of Hemingway, "He has no courage, has never crawled out on a limb. He has never been known to use a word that might cause the reader to check with a dictionary to see if it is properly used." To which Hemingway responds, "Poor Faulkner, does he really think big emotions come from big words? He thinks I don't know that..." Did you hear that knock? That is the delivery. Bear with me, because we're not getting rid of this take. Hello there.
Hello, my man. How are you doing?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. See the way I'll step back now? I know.
You know how this door works.
Oh, yeah. Let's fall for you there.
Fantastic.
All right, thanks a lot. Have a good one.
You too. Bye. There we go. Delivery done. So you see, this is live TV really. 4 packages, and we have this awkward front door which opens the wrong way. It opens outwards, not inwards, which always confuses everyone. But this delivery guy knew what he was doing. He stepped back far enough to let the door open perfectly. Anyway, I'm not going to unbox these things in front of everyone on this video because that really would be dull. I'll continue with Fated Refrain's comment about Faulkner and Hemingway. So So yes, Faulkner is saying, look, why doesn't Hemingway use all these big, cool words and make us think a bit more? And Hemingway says, I don't need to use complicated words to make you think. You know, the shorter words are fine. I think, what's this quote I'm trying to remember from Ulysses? Stephen Dedalus says something like, I fear those big words which we don't, we fear those big words which we don't understand. Something like that. Anyway, let me carry on with Fated Refrain's comment. I suspect I too am something of a hierarchist. The aim of art should be to challenge either the creator themselves or the observer, and often best, I think, through weaving multiple disparate ideas, meanings and elements together to form something new. Hemingway's writing is not Shakespearean, to be sure, but it most certainly has artistic value. As you alluded to intent, the question arises, regarding simplicity, does intent matter? If one paints a can of soup out of boredom without considering comparisons to Cézanne or modern industrialism, is it still good art? Alternatively, nursery rhymes may not constitute great art, but they can provoke imagination and offer creative new frames of thought. It's just that the audience is a bit younger. Suppose, Greg, you were an incy-wincy spider destined to climb the same water spout again and again, We've stories like that for adults too, as I recall. I contend that great art engages one intellectually as well as emotionally. Fair art challenges one, at least intellectually. Poor art does little of either. Indeed, entertainment serves familiarity. Art beckons softly as a siren. Look, there's more. That's great, isn't it? Those two sentences, absolutely fantastic. Entertainment serves familiarity. Art beckons softly as a siren. Look, there's more. That is amazing. I could not have put it better myself, or even close. Thank you, Fated Refrain. That is, I'm tempted to stop there because you really summed it up well. Okay, carrying on. We're getting towards the end now. Not too many more to go. Thank you for sticking with me. I really appreciate it if you're still here. It's a longer video than I thought, but people rarely bother to read all these comments. So that's why I think it's so important to share these fascinating views. Laura Giannini, violinist, says, I do also agree on the difference between the two. One as a form to reconnect with one's soul and imagination, the other as a way to switch off and enjoy a fun or relaxed time away from daily preoccupations without engaging in anything too deep or meaningful. I believe that both good art and good entertainment require high-skilled performers, in the broad sense of the word. Therefore, I'm equally respectful of the two expressions of talent. Industry, marketing, and sales are a whole other chapter. Yes, that was how do you say this word? A diplomat's answer. Very diplomatic. Sitting on the fence a bit, Laura. Come on, make up your mind. But you spell out the difference pretty well. Yeah. Okay. Composer Jan-Peter de Jager, hope I'm saying that right, apologies if not, says, while the subject is difficult to treat, especially in a postmodern world where there aren't many values left to make an audience connect, I guess inclusivity is one of the last values we are left with, I tend to think lately about art's purpose, in part, to enhance the nobleness of an individual or group. Even when an artist tries to confront the audience with human's dark side, it should be done in such a manner that it is about lifting the human being up, rather than trampling him or her down. A lot of art in modern times, good intentions aside from the artist, is at least ambiguous in this matter to the public eye, and therefore not appreciated much. This is one of the problems we face today, and we seem not to get rid of it easily. I guess when we think of what it means to be noble, it doesn't exclude pleasure, but tries to lift it up to a higher level. Some artworks can cause this effect more than others, and although judgment in art is impossible to be objective, it is noble to try to go as far to objectivity as you are able. Interesting, Jan-Peter. So, yes, you care about whether art is noble or not, whether it enhances the nobleness of an individual or a group. Well, yes, maybe. That sounds a little bit like we're trying to moralize. We're trying to say art should only be about noble individuals. Well, says who? Why can't art be about ignoble individuals? You know? I personally don't care much if the object, if the reason a book is written is to try to improve us. Didactic art or literature, I think, is not a good way to go. Nabokov was strong on this. He loathed didactic literature, and his art was art for art's sake. He wrote about what he wanted to write about. Screw everyone else. There's no morals in his stuff. And that's what I agree with. But maybe I've misconstrued your point. Maybe you can tell me a bit more about what you meant about enhancing the nobleness of an individual or a group. Could be a fine way to create art, but I would say it doesn't have to be that. But thank you for the comments. It was thought-provoking, definitely. Okay. Chris Durham says, art versus entertainment? I listened to Shostakovich's piano concerto like it was a pop tune, so I'm not sure I'm the right person to ask. Thank you, Chris. Very good. Melgan de Maison says, hi, Greg. Nice topic. Heart, heart, heart. For me, it's a direct discourse between art and entertainment. 4 stars in a row. Too much classification of arts. Bell, bell, bell. Thank you for the emojis. Very creative. Too much classification of arts. Entertainment is an art, she goes on to say. Entertainment is an art. Interesting. Is it really? Is it really? I'd like to hear more about that, Melgan. Maybe you can let me know on this video. How is entertainment an art in particular? I'd say it was a different category. But again, happy to be convinced otherwise. I think we all should be happy, or willing at least, to have our minds changed. That's one of the things that I think not enough people see as an important feature of their mind. We have our views and we stick doggedly to them. But no, we should all be willing to change our mind if given enough evidence. So I'm willing to change my mind of whether entertainment is an art. Currently don't think so, but Melgan, convince me. 3 last comments. Soichiro Sounds says, I subscribe to your channel. Well, thank you. And I hope everyone watching does so too, because it really makes a difference. They go on to say, thank you. Your English is so clear and cool, by the way. Thank you very much. I enjoyed this video. I like this discussion. I studied European philosophy and this really excites me. Great. Well, I'm glad that someone who studied European philosophy finds this interesting. That in itself is high praise. Ivory Gears says, great video, great topic. 2 thumbs up. Great, unless that's only 2 out of 5, in which case not so good. Last but not least, the most recent comment from Hudson Holland. In my opinion, art is made when the artist creates the work because he or she legitimately wants to, not because of the money or other motives that may drive the work to be made in the entertainment industry. I think that art is made when the artist sits down and disregards all other factors like money or wanting to post a new song every week and focuses only on the work and what it means to him, or her, we should say, not caring at all about what other people think, and creating a work that is legitimately himself or herself. That, in my opinion, is art. Entertainment seems biased by other factors. Right. Yes, I agree, Hudson, absolutely. When the artist sits down and disregards all other factors like money or wanting to post a new song every week and focuses only on the work, that's it. That is what art is. You're driven by this urge to create whatever it is, and you're not influenced by matters of engaging with the audience every week or financial reward. Absolutely. With entertainment, you have to think about all these things. So there we are. Thank you for sticking with me. Gosh, we're coming in at close to half an hour, or maybe over half an hour. If you've watched this far, I bow down to you. This has been an experiment, a one-take video. Please let me know what you think, both about the subject matter of this video and also, do you prefer the one-take videos or do you prefer the slickness of the edits? Gosh, this would have been a very different video had it been all edited together. So it just remains for me to say, I hope you're all well. Thanks for tuning in. Please do subscribe if you haven't. And one thing that keeps me going is my Patreon supporters. Because as you may know, I'm a composer as well as a musician and music teacher. I do aim to write one piece every month. I find that's a perfectly reasonable amount to write. I write piano music mainly. If you want to support what I do and keep me writing piano music, please become a supporter on Patreon. And it also helps me keep making YouTube videos. So thank you. I do appreciate all the comments you leave. And on that note, I will say bye-bye for now.